everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Allison.
And this is Nerd of the Week, a randomly generated fandom podcast. Generator, would you like to remind everyone what we rolled for our word this week?
The word of the week is fashion.
Okay. Are you ready to tell me the many options that Google has given me for the definition of fashion?
Yes, I have, I think, a few options of definitions for us.
Okay.
All right. The first is the accepted style of clothing and adornment that is used in a given time period.
Okay.
I think there's also like the fashion industry, which is like the industry that innovates, produces, and markets fashionable items. No, I don't want to use fashionable items. No.
Google does that all the time.
From the record.
Google does that all the time, where they're like, "Here's the definition of the word by giving us the word."
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So if I'm guessing what Google says, I guess we'll leave that in. Okay. And then I do have one more as well, which is kind of more of like an old-timey version of it, where it's like, after a fashion she did. So it's like a period of time. Yeah,
okay. So you're fairly spot on. So there's the noun and the verb. The first one it gives is a popular trend, especially
I didn't give a verb. Hold on.
Holding.
The verb, like, I'm going to fashion something, like I'm going to make something.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So noun is a popular trend, especially in styles of dress and ornament or manners of behavior.
Ooh.
The production of marketing of new styles, especially clothing and cosmetics.
Is it production and marketing?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I totally got it.
You did. And then a manner of doing something. So like the work being done in a casual fashion.
Okay.
And then the verb is to make into a particular or required form or use materials to make into. They then have like phrases for like after a fashion, but they don't really describe it, but it's definitely in that like list of things. But like, I don't know if there's like a real definition on that front.
It seems like kind of just a play on words.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Popular or considered to be attractive at the time in question is the last definition that they give.
All right.
So lots of different options.
Got it, kind of.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you got it exactly.
Awesome. Yes. And I would just like to make the record clear, I do not Google these words beforehand, so I really am coming up with this. It is really from my own brain and not from what I might have read on Google a few weeks ago and I'm trying to remember. I promise, it's all real.
It's Allison Originals.
TM. Perfect.
Also, as I like to point out with the random extra things that like to come up, there's like a pic in the like fashion with the picture, how like Google has like that little extra side. There's just a lady in like a butterfly dress, and which fine, whatever.
Wait, but like a dress with butterflies on it?
It looks like a butterfly, like a monarch butterfly pattern, and then she definitely looks like she's got like wings or something going on in like a shawl situation, but it's like a small picture. Hard to tell. She's clearly walking a runway. But the next 4 photos next to her are just the word fashion in different fonts. No, nothing else. Just the word fashion. And one, I think, because it's so small on my screen, I think it's trying to say sustainable underneath it, but that's it. And I'm staring at it going, fashion is spelled weird, and the more I look at it, the more I'm like, this is not real.
Exactly. It's not a word. It's not a word at all.
So that was just my random aside, because it's always strange.
That's a great aside.
It's always strange the images that Google decides to associate with the words.
I'm so happy with that. I'm so pleased.
So we're gonna jump in to my bring to the podcast today with 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, how cute!
Yeah.
I had thought of that one briefly, and I'm glad you brought it. That's good.
And I'm specifically doing the 1996 film. Like love the animation, the animated one. They're very closely related to each other. But the 101 1996, wow, try again. 101 Dalmatians from, I just said all of the numbers and none of the words. We're going to do really great today, I promise. Is a movie that had like a lot more stars in it than like one realizes. Like Jen Close is Cruella de Vil, and no one thought she was going to take that role, and they thought this was too like campy and ridiculous. And apparently she loved doing this role, because of course she did. Who doesn't want to play Cruella de Vil? Like, it would be so fun to be this over the top villain character. And
I briefly remember this movie, and really the first thing I can remember is the scene where she's like in the jail cell being like a reformed someone, and she's like cuddling with puppies. Is that in this movie, or am I thinking of like something else?
You are. That's this movie. And like the one that gets me is Jeff Daniels is Roger. Like
he's the husband, right?
He's the husband. Okay. And like who's not like who I would think to play Roger Dearly in this movie. And then Julie Richardson is Anita Campbell Green, eventually Dearly. Spoiler alert, they get married at the end. No. Joan Plowright plays a nanny. Hugh Laurie is Jasper, and Mark Wallace is Horace. So Dr. House.
Who are these people?
Dr. House and Arthur Weasley are the...
well, no, I know those people, but like, who are the
Jasper
characters?
And Horace are the two that kidnap the dogs. They're like Cruella's henchmen.
That's really funny.
And it's just like it's more star-studded than you would think it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 96, so I feel like Jen Close was a big star then still. So I don't. It's just
wait. Who plays the dogs?
You know,
Are they credited?
The dogs don't talk in this movie, right?
Yeah, but there's still. I think there's real dogs. They're not CGI.
I understand what you're asking. Who were the dogs in? Yeah, IMDb. Give me the dogs. Bye.
Equal representation for dog actors.
There were 4 adult dogs that played Pongo and 3 who played Purdy. Do they have
I feel
names?
like with Dalmatians it'd be hard because their spots are so unique.
Right? I bet they, like, no one paid attention.
Wasn't there one little Dalmatian that was, like, all white?
That's 102 Dalmatians. She doesn't have any spots, and it was the search for her spots. And then she got her spots at the end.
Isn't there one named Domino where it has, like, a black ear with white spots instead of... Okay.
Yep. And then
this apparently made much more of an impression on me than I thought it did.
It was a dog movie. There was my favorite was Dipper or Dipstick, because his whole tail was black.
Yes.
And
their names are good.
Their names are pretty solid. And then there's a dog in there. They've got the old English sheepdogs who are their friend, who's Fogey, and then there's an Airedale named Kipper, who like help them escape from everything later on. I know these dogs. It's a problem.
All good boys. They're all good boys.
What were their names? Tell me the names of the dogs, Google.
I was just gonna say, I wonder what else they've acted in, but probably not much.
I bet you they were like to fit with the like Firehouse dogs. I bet they played like a couple of like action shots of like a fire station, and then they were like the Dalmatian in the fire station shots. This is just the name of the puppy. Quick Googling does not tell me the names of the dogs. So if you knew the names of the dogs, listener, especially who played Pongo and Purdy, because they are the main characters, honestly, of the story, please let me know, because I would love to know the good boys and girls who played these movies with their quality acting.
They were such good boys and girls. They did all of the things right.
They did all of the things right. So
I'm sorry to have derailed your summary, though.
totally fine. I assume most people listening to this have at least watched the original animated movie, if not this movie in particular too, because it did really well. It's very campy. It's very over the top, which I feel like you need in a movie about this many Dalmatians. And so Roger Dearly I think he's a video game designer. Not 100% sure what he does for a living, but
That's a unique thing to be in 1996.
Yeah, I think it was because in the original, I think he's a songwriter.
Okay.
Because I think in the movie or in the animated, he plays like the piano, and that's like his kind of big thing. And I think the idea of Roger was he's like in a new field or a field that's hard to be in. So I think that's why they put him instead of being a songwriter, because that wasn't quite relatable. Computer video game in 96 was probably like a harder field to breach and like more down on your luck than it would be nowadays. So I think that's why they did that with him.
That makes sense.
Because he's not doing well. And he has a Dalmatian, which like Dalmatians are expensive. So he spent all of his money on his dog and not on himself, which honestly mood. But he has Pongo, and they live in London. And one day, I think they're in the park, and Pongo sees a female Dalmatian whose name is Perdita. And he chases her through the park, and I think they're in St. James Park in London. And Roger finds that his dog likes Perdita, which, like, if your dog's like chasing another dog through, I feel like that's not the scenario that usually happens when dogs are chasing each other through a park.
Right.
But Pongo runs into Perdita. They're sniffing. They're having a good time. They're playing in the park together. And then her owner, because I think Perdita slipped her lead, and she comes running up, and Roger discovers Anita. And basically they like love at first sight, like immediately are in love with each other. In the animated film, there's the like classic scene of Pongo and Perdita on their leashes, like wrapping them up and then like forcing them to be very close to each other, which I don't think happens in the movie, but they fall in love, and they are basically because their dogs also fall in love, and they return home, and more or less within like the course of a very short period of time they're engaged, and they get married, and Pongo and Purdy get married too. And this is my Bob Barker, please spay and neuter your pets, but also these two did not spay and neuter their pets. And,
oh no.
And then kind of that's the cutesy beginning of the movie. Kind of just set the stage of all this. Anita is a fashion designer at the House of DeVille, which it took me so long to realize Cruella DeVille's last name was Evil.
Yeah.
I was an adult and not a child when I was like, oh, that's why we named her this. Like, but all right. So Glenn Close plays Cruella DeVille, and she's this diabolical, glamorous fashion savant who has a love of fur and has like the most ridiculous furs, and like she's got like cougar fur and tiger fur and like all the things that are super unethical to have around. And she has I think the last thing she was doing was having her taxidermist, whose name is Mr. Skinner, which solid naming. It was, I think she wanted him to skin a white tiger at the zoo and make it into a rug. And so they,
maybe let's not do that.
Right, exactly. Do not be Cruella DeVille. However, like, that's how we set her up to be like this evil villainous character. But I do appreciate her ridiculousness and her over the topness. She's she's a very good villain because you love to hate her. But she does have a line when Anita comes back to work after like her honeymoon period about like, honey, you cannot drop your career for a man. And I'm like, I love you.
There's some wisdom there.
There is some wisdom there. But Anita, because of all of the like mushy, happy romance things going on in her life at the moment, designs a fur coat inspired by her Dalmatians. And Cruella,
No.
Yeah, and
It's her fault.
It is her fault. It's Anita's fault because she was daydreaming. She had a coat that was all fur, like fluffy, and Cruella de Vil was like, "This isn't enough," and she was like doodling spots on it. And then Cruella, who apparently missed the fact that Dalmatians existed,
Up until now,
up until this moment, which you
and
would
also
think
apparently hasn't taken the lives of her coworkers into consideration. Asked like, "Oh, what's your dog like?"
Well, she's evil. She would never have done that. That would involve like a touch of humanity and like talking to people.
Yeah, she's a bad boss.
Bad
That's
boss.
what I'm saying.
Talk to your people. But Cruella like sees the doodle and is like intrigued, and then asks like kind of like weird questions to ask your coworkers, like, and how does their fur feel? Not like, oh, like, you know, when we talk about each other's dogs, like, oh, look at your fluffy friend, but just like, how does it feel? Like, is it long or is it short? And
Okay, can I honestly say Dalmatian fur? It's like lab fur. It
is
like Labrador. It would not make a very fluffy coat per se.
I feel like
I think they're the wrong dog fur texture that we're going for here.
I feel like faux fur would have been better anyway, like from comparison to just knowing how Dalmatians are. And
You
like,
know what? If you want a spotted coat with fluffy fur, go for a snow leopard.
very ethical.
Side note, please don't do this.
Go with faux fur.
Yes. That's the answer really for all of us.
I do think a snow leopard pattern would look better anyway, because like I love Dalmatians, don't get me wrong, but like I just I do. I think they're the cutest.
Okay, fine.
I know they're all jerks, and I know they're all
it.
and I know they're all inbred, but I love them.
Okay.
And so Cruella thinks it's funny that she would be like wearing Anita's dog, and like that's like the end of the conversation of like, haha, like what if I just skinned your dog and wore her fur, which is like the biggest red flag. I would stop working for this woman immediately after those words left her mouth. But you know, is what it is. So some time passes. Anita discovers that Purdy is pregnant. And also because, you know, the plot, she also is pregnant, so isn't this adorable? She's pregnant at the same time as her dog?
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it's great. But that's, you know,
That's too much work.
Puppies and baby at the same time? No.
Coming from our field perspective, I don't think that... I think we know too much, and this is not good.
Yeah. And then... I think Anita is like on her maternity leave. There's a lot of like time skips in this movie. But she's like on her maternity leave, and Cruella comes to visit her because I guess she's like her assistant or something, and she's like, I can't function without you. And she comes to visit. This is where she's like, she just absolutely hates Roger. She's just like, no, absolutely not. He is not like fashionable, and like who wants to be a video game designer and all this. And she is like, why are you having a baby? Having a baby's too much effort, all this stuff. And then, but then she like turns on a dime when she finds out that Purdy is pregnant too. And she comes back when I think Purdy has like 15 puppies, and she offers them, I think it was 7,000, 8,000 pounds for them, which I don't know what that translates to in United States dollars.
Like per puppy?
No, for all of them.
That's not enough for 15 puppies. Purebred Dalmatians? Come on. It's like that amount per puppy.
Right. For Dalmatians, especially in this economy. 7,000 pounds per Google is about 8,700 United States dollars.
Yeah, I think you'd have to pay that per puppy.
Per puppy. How much?
She is not offering a good deal. I hope Anita says no.
I'm not asking how much I have to pay. Yeah, Google's saying you could pay up to like $1,200 for puppy. But I feel like that's more, especially if it's like purebred. But anyway, they refuse because Anita, at the very least, has remembered the conversation with Cruella saying that I wanted to wear your dog's fur. And this immediately makes Cruella mad, and she vows revenge on Anita and Roger.
Oh my gosh, she's so unhinged.
She's absolutely feral. And so she's like, you'll regret this. There's it's a very good, like, just dramatic moment where she's just like freaking out, and it's a very Karen moment. And then she storms out and more or less like drives off in her like ridiculous car, which, by the way, I love Cruella de Vil's car. It's this like big, I think it's a Chevy, like an old Chevy car. And I just, oh my God.
Doesn't look pretty.
It does look pretty. She's a fashion designer. Of course it does. What is it? What kind of car? It's a Panther DeVille. It's a BMC, forgive me. It's an 1800 BMC. But
okay.
It's very iconic and classic, and it's just a good villain car because she's got it painted black and white, and her hair is split down the middle, and half of her head is black and half of her hair is white. And
yeah, she's the original split dye person.
She is. Mm-hmm. She's the one who set all the trends. Cool. Before it was cool, there was Cruella de Vil. So that happens, and then there's a little bit more of a time skip, and then we're in a winter-esque time frame in London, and she sends Jasper and Horace, her henchmen, to steal the puppies while Roger and Anita are walking Pongo and Purdy at the park.
Oh no.
Which bold of them to have just left 15, I'm going to assume 8 to 9 week old puppies alone in their house walking their other dogs. But
yeah, not great.
Just chaos completely. And then they had, so in this one, because I think in the animated film, Purdy has like all of 100 puppies are originally hers. She just has the 15, and Jasper and Horace in the 1996 movie are kidnapping Dalmatians just all over London, and so there's 84 other Dalmatians that had been stolen and brought to the DeVille mansion.
They should wait for the puppies to grow up. There's more surface area then.
So that is addressed in the movie because their fur is softer. Because she, when she's like saying that she's going to offer them £7,000 for it, she's just like, oh, they're much softer than Purdy and Pongo. So in the original animation, I don't think that's brought up because that was one of the gripes that a lot of people had was like, I mean, if you're going to kill a bunch of dogs, you might as well wait till they have like the maximum surface area. So they absolutely lampshade it in the movie.
Well, that's from reasonable people saying, let's preserve as much life as possible. If you're going to kill a dog, let's only kill 1 or 2.
Right. Exactly. Which Cruella de Vil has already proven that she's not reasonable, declaring revenge on 2 people who wouldn't sell them her dogs because she wanted to kill them, but it's fine. But it is like lampshaded in this movie.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And so there's the classic monologuing villain scene with her telling Dr. Skinner to kill and skin all the dogs for their coat, and then she just goes and leaves because that's what villains did in the 90s is they monologue and then they dip, so that it gives the hero time to run away. And Anita and Roger come back and find that their puppies are gone, and Pongo uses what's called the Twilight Bark to carry the message through all of the dogs of Britain, which is like my favorite thing is where that's how
Batman?
Unclear. It's just how dogs communicate, and they all just like bark, and that's why dogs bark at midnight is just like the nightly news or something for them. And so Pongo is telling everyone, all the dogs in London, and I think all of Great Britain, because I think DeVille Mansion is outside of London. So he notifies. Roger and Anita are telling the police. Anita suspects that it's Cruella based on the whole "I'm gonna get revenge on you" scenario, and she confirms her suspicion when she's at work and she's like digging through Cruella's desk while Cruella's like on a phone call or something, and she finds a portfolio of all the different types of furs she's gonna make up from the puppies, like literally left out, not even in a locked drawer. I think at the top of her desk, like, this is my evil villain plan right here on this desk. Then we go to the Airedale Terrier Jasper. Kipper. Kipper. The Airedale Terrier, who was like out on a farm, sees Jasper and Horace being like hella suspicious and sniffs them out and follows them, and he discovers the puppies. So Kipper gets all the puppies, because I think they're in Cruella's like farm that has like horses and pigs and sheep and stuff, and they cover the puppies in soot so that they don't look like Dalmatians. They just look like black labs. And which is,
I don't think that would work.
I mean, soot gets pretty much everywhere. I mean, I think if you just got like even just dampen the whiteness of the dogs so they don't stick out, I think that would be like just kind of under the cover of night situation. It's a cute children's movie.
Okay, fine. We'll allow it.
And so he sneaks the puppies out, and then Pongo and Purdy have escaped from their London house to go hunting for their puppies, because the Twilight Bark has told them that they think they know the location of the puppies. And Cruella comes back to her house to discover that the puppies have disappeared. She is mad at Jasper and Horace, and, you know, I can't trust these henchmen to do the work. I have to do it myself situation. So she goes and is driving around in her car to carry out the job herself. And there's a bunch of like Looney Tune-esque scenarios that happen while she's driving around in her car, like, and they build a lot of suspense with her, like having like a floodlight like go by, and all the puppies are like hiding under like a fence line and things like that. And they're trying to Jasper and Horace are trying to like make up for it, but then they get arrested by the police, and then more or less just sell out Cruella, because like she definitely deserves it anyway. And Cruella does try to track down the puppies, ends up at the farm. The farm animals riot, and they steal her hat. A pig falls on her.
The worst. They steal her hat.
They steal her ridiculous hat.
How could they?
It's like the thing that like distracts her. I think it's like the horse or something that grabs it off her head and distracts her so that they can drop the pig on her. And then I think she falls into... As a kid, I always thought it was just like fertilizer, but I actually think, having watched it recently, I think it's molasses. There's just a random vat of molasses, because that's what it
Are they trying to like tar and feather her?
That's more or less what happens. And then, because then she gets flung into the pig pen, and the chickens go after her. So more or less, she gets tarred and feathered by the farm animals, who are distracting her and eating up her time until all the puppies can escape. And the police arrive and find Cruella just like in absolute shambles and take her into custody with Jasper, Horace, and Skinner. And they like drive off in a cop car, and there's a, like, the Just Desserts situation is there's a black and white skunk that has snuck into the cop car while they're getting arrested, and like as they're driving off, they get sprayed by the skunk.
Oh, no. No.
Which, like, you're not getting that out of those clothes.
No.
That is going to be what that's
not out
forever.
of that cop car either.
Right.
They're going to have to
I
retire
honestly feel
that one.
bad for the cop on that front. He didn't ask for this. This woman's already covered in molasses and, like, God knows what else. And now there's skunk spray. But the rest of the animals are sent home, or, like, get home with Pongo and Purdy, and they're all reunited. And Roger, Anita, and their nanny are informed that the 84 other puppies don't have a home to go to, because no one's...
Why not?
That's my one gripe, is that, like...
Where'd they come from?
Dalmatians usually are in, like, humane societies. Those are usually, like, bought animals that have, like, tags and stuff. So, like, no one's... claiming these dogs. No one's putting out like an APB on these dogs. And so then they just decide to adopt them. And Roger makes the video game about his dogs getting adopted or kidnapped by Cruella de Vil, which becomes very successful, which is what pays for their mansion where they get to keep all their dogs. And then they have... Oh, my
goodness.
A cute...
I remember that closing scene, too.
Uh-huh.
There's all these little puppies playing out on the lawn.
Uh-huh. And they're all out in this, like, lawn, just ridiculous numbers. Just the logistics of 101 dogs alone has always bothered me.
They must have hired someone to help.
They have a nanny. I'm certain, like, they had to have turned it into like a rescue or something like that. And then there's like a cute ending scene of like it pulling back with all the dogs everywhere. And the video game that Roger makes actually exists. It's this like computer game that I think existed either at the same time to come up with the movie or just before, that they just kind of used in their plot of like the puppies getting kidnapped and then you have to sneak out of Cruella Mansion. I played the crap out of that game as a kid. And the last sequence is they're riding through on a minecart and then you have to shoot like explosive barrels at Cruella's car. It's,
oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous. It's super fun, but it's definitely a kid's game, but it's very fun.
It sounds like something I might have actually liked.
Yeah, it's very fun and silly, and there's a lot of just like references to the movie and things like that. It's a good time.
That's good. That's a really good one. Oh, I think I have a lot of opinions on it though, but it was fun.
I think you're supposed to. Like, Cruella's not necessarily like a role model for anyone.
Except in the new Cruella movie, they do try and give her like a sob story.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't
seen it.
I haven't.
I watched it on an airplane. It's definitely a good airplane movie.
Okay, that's fair. But no, I have not watched it, and I've heard mixed reviews.
I think, I mean, it's Emma Stone, so it's very well acted.
Sure.
I think it's just maybe a bit unnecessary, but it's okay.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is what it is.
Campy movies are allowed to exist.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I have a quote, and then I have another campy movie to talk about.
I love it.
So,
Perfect.
shall we move right along?
That sounds great.
Perfect. I hope you like this quote. I quite like it.
I'm sure I will.
And I think you'll know where it's from.
Okay.
I know you've consumed the media, whether or not you realize it or not.
Fair enough.
All right. It's like that scene in The Matrix where a bunch of different shelves of guns come at you, but it's all just like shorts and utility-kilts and skirts and lightweight summer fashions.
That sounds real familiar. Oh, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
All right. Think long and hard.
I will. Oh, that has right at the I can see the scene. Oh, God. Okay. If you know, listener, where this quote is, feel free to tweet at us or post on our Facebook page or all of our other socials, and you can use the hashtag Nerd of the Week or hashtag NOTWP, and we'd love to hear from you.
We'd love it. We'd adore it. So, shall I tell you about what I've brought?
I would love to hear it.
All right, as I said, another campy movie, another throwback from childhood. I'm bringing The Princess Diaries from 2001.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So, of course, Princess Diaries has the wonderful, the immaculate Julie Andrews as Queen Clarice of Genovia. And then Anne Hathaway, of course, as Princess Mia Thermopolis of San Francisco. It's, I would say, probably one of my more loved movies as a child. And I'm just going to like briefly summarize it. And then I think it'd be more interesting to give hot takes rather than like completely summarize it.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
That's another movie that I think a lot of people have watched, if not in full, are aware of it.
Yeah. So basically the lowdown of it is, so Mia Thermopolis lives in San Francisco with her mother, who's an artist, and one day her estranged grandmother comes to visit. Oh, well, I guess we should say she is not a popular kid. She's made fun of and bullied at school because she looks different. But her estranged grandmother comes and says, "You are not just a regular girl, you are a princess, and I am a queen, and you shall rule the country of Genovia." And she says, "Shut up." And basically the queen doesn't understand. But then someone says, "No, she's just amazed. She's appalled. She can't believe it." she quickly runs away, confronts her mother about this. Her mother is not royalty. It's her father who was the royal prince. He is dead now. The timeline of that is unclear.
Right. Also, just my own personal aside here, as a woman with tattoos and piercings, the mom was like, do you know how hard it is to find a guy that doesn't have tattoos and piercings? Like, that is like the only defining features of men. And that has always bothered me. And this is my hot take on the Princess Diaries. Sorry.
What's more is I think Joe, who is the chauffeur, has a piercing.
He does.
I'm
He
looking at a
absolutely
picture
does.
of him right now. He has 2 piercings.
I love Joe. He is my
Joe is
favorite.
great.
10 out of 10. He set my unrealistic standards of men.
Oh my goodness. Let me quick finish the summary. Two more seconds. It's okay. So basically, somehow news gets out that she is in fact a princess. Everyone at school wants to be her friend. She goes through like a miraculous transformation. She's like popular now, but still like kind of bullied at the same time.
Yeah.
And she's all like, I don't want to do this whole princess thing. Like, I am not good enough. It's not what I had thought of for my life here. And her grandmother's like, well, how about if I give you princess lessons until the Genovian Independence Day ball, in which case you can decide if you actually want to do this or not.
Great.
So she goes through these princess lessons, and a lot of things happen at school. We'll get into those in my hot takes.
Okay.
And she thinks up until the very end that she's going to renounce the title, but then she realizes, because she gets a secret letter from her dead father that was in like a birthday gift that was supposed to be opened on her 16th birthday. And it says something like, I believe you can do this. You go get him, girl. And because of that, she's like, okay, yeah, I will. So then she goes to the ball and she says, yes, I will be the princess. Hooray.
Hooray.
So that's the quick summary of it.
Okay.
Now, why I brought this for fashion. So first off, as I said, at first she like looks, quote, different than the other kids. And what I mean by that, like, she's still, I would say, conventionally attractive. But
yes,
she
absolutely
has curly hair and wears glasses.
Right.
And she's into rock climbing.
Right.
Instead of cheerleading.
Those are her not attractive traits, right? Yes.
Right. Like, she looks fine. And even like in one of the scenes at the beginning where she's at the rock climbing gym, and this is where her mom comes to like tell her like, hey, your grandmother is coming and wants to see you for tea. But like in the rock climbing gym, she doesn't have her glasses on, and she has her hair like kind of pulled back into a ponytail. Mm-hmm. And she looks like completely like normal and like hella pretty.
Yeah.
Like,
Anne
she
Hathaway
looks fine.
is drop dead gorgeous, and
yeah,
it does not matter like your hair, like your teeth. Like, she had braces on. Like, everyone had their awkward teenage years with braces. Like,
yeah,
calm down.
But she gets them off, and then her teeth are all white and straight and pretty. Like,
which set me up for another unrealistic standard, because like I had braces. And I had to have them forever. And then I, like, did not get beautiful straight teeth when my braces came off. And I was like,
no.
excuse me, why do I not look like Anne Hathaway right now?
Oh, no.
I have more opinions about this movie than I thought.
Another thing about, like, the way she looks, though, is the school she goes to is they all wear uniforms.
Right.
So it's not like even she has, like, clothes to be made fun of by. Like, they all wear the same thing, except the cheerleaders who get to wear their cheerleading uniform, which is something I never understood, even about my own high school. Like, the cheerleaders like to wear their cheerleading uniforms on game days. And it's like, why are you doing this? You don't need to.
Hashtag school pride, question mark? I don't know. I was never a cheerleader.
Hashtag, I'm a cheerleader and I look cute. And you should love me.
Wow,
Obviously,
very
I
hot
wasn't
take.
a cheerleader. I'm sorry.
I mean, I was in sports. We were like, but I was a swimmer, so like walking around in your swimsuit wasn't super kosher. So
That's true.
we just wore
And
our
I guess,
jackets.
what can I say? I played field hockey, so I had to wear a skirt too.
Yeah, Allison.
Yeah. But anyway,
anyway.
back to the movie. And then, so the transformation that she goes through, obviously she still has to wear her school uniform. So really just someone comes and brushes her hair and like gives her some sort of styling tips of how to make her hair straight.
Right.
And her friend Lily,
I love Lily.
She is problematic. I will get to that in a second.
I love her ridiculously. That's what I will say about Lily. Okay, she is
really
mean. She's feral. That's my new word of the day.
Yeah, apparently. So anyway, her grandmother has loaned her a limo that Joe drives around and also kind of like supervises her in so she doesn't get into like trouble. Mm-hmm. And also to like take her back and forth from the school to the like Genovian consulate, whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so she picks up Lily and her brother at their house every morning instead of them like riding their scooters to school. Mm-hmm. And the day after she gets her big makeover, she like opens the door of the limo and Lily, she's like, "What did they do to your hair? They destroyed you. You should sue." And it's like, it's not that bad. She just has smooth hair. And Lily herself has straight hair. Like, what is she so mad about? Right. I don't understand. And then Lily's brother, who has a crush on Mia, he, like, kind of digs it. He, like, thinks it's cute. But he's not allowed to say anything because his outspoken sister doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. Ugh, Lily is so mean. Like, she... Literally, it's all about her. And when Mia can't show up on this, like, TV show, this, like, cable news show that Lily has, she gets all mad at her because, like, okay, granted, Mia did promise that she would come.
Yes.
But, like, Lily gets unreasonably mad and, like, going to disown her when literally it's just like, I'm sorry, something came up.
Right.
Okay. In high school,
she is a teenage girl, and you have to forgive her that. And her friend changed drastically, and to be fair, is a drop-dead gorgeous woman. And so
but she was before.
She was before, but like through the lens of the context, like she was. I think Lily was probably intimidated and was never taught how to appropriately handle her feelings, and so that's probably why she became very problematic.
Or how to support her friends.
Also that. But
like if you told me, hey, I'm a princess, I would be like, oh my god, congratulations. Can I come visit you at the palace?
I think your first response would be, I don't believe you. What bullshit are you spewing?
Okay, maybe. Which also, like, the way that, since Lily is pestering Mia so much about her hair and she has to, like, finally tell her, like, it just... They, like, kind of go behind a tree so no one else can hear them. And she whispers in her ear, like, I'm a princess. And Lily's just like, oh my gosh, really? Okay. Like, she just accepts it, which is silly.
Because, like, we all didn't have that phase where we thought we were, like, some sort of royalty or nonsense when we were growing up, too. Like,
right. We were all princesses growing up.
Hashtag just princess things.
I want to talk more about fashion. Can I talk more about fashion?
Absolutely.
Okay. There's this one scene where she's first meeting her grandmother, and she's still just wearing her school uniform, and, like, it's before her hair had been done. And, like, she looks, again, I want to emphasize, she looks completely fine. There is nothing wrong with the way she looks. Like, her outfit, her uniform is, like, nice. It's not wrinkled. It's, like decent length skirt. Like, she looks completely fine. Mm-hmm. And her grandmother comes down the stairs, can't find a single nice thing to say about her. And so she says, you look young.
Which is the most British thing to say. Can I just point that out? Like, I know they're from Genovia, which is a fictional country.
It's British, though. Come on.
Absolutely. Like, and it's Julia Roberts, which we stand in this household. But, like,
yeah, she's a good one. We like her.
But, like, it's the most British thing to say. You look young.
And then Mia also can't find a single nice thing to say about her grandmother. Like, she wants to kind of, like, mirror the compliment, I guess. And she literally does not know this woman. She has been estranged for her whole 16-year life. Mm-hmm. Didn't know a thing about her except that she wanted her parents to not be together. Like, she hated her mother. So, like, she has reason to be on guard. And so she's like, she doesn't know what to say, so she
her
just
mother
says,
who raised her, and this woman who basically made her dad like not allowed to inherit the throne. Like all of these things make sense. Like
either he could not inherit the throne, or he could get rid of his family and inherit the throne.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll get into that in a second as well. My goodness. But anyway, so the compliment that Mia gives to her grandmother is, "You look clean."
You look clean. I forgot about that.
You look clean. And they're both just like, okay, you've just said this thing to me. I don't know what to do with this information. But going back to the throne, so at one point, her grandmother during a princess lesson is saying something like, "I married into the family. You have royal blood." So it's like, if she married into the family and she's now queen, the literal ruler of the country, because her husband passed away, she is the sole monarch, and she wasn't even royal blood to begin with, then why could Mia's father not have married her mother? Like, her mother could have married in, and they all could have been royals. It doesn't make sense.
Welcome to monarchies and all of the history of the world.
But it's the same thing.
Isn't it like
her
a woman thing?
Marrying her commoner grandmother, and then her father would have married a commoner, her mother. Like, it's the same thing.
Hypocrisy is real, and
I don't know.
Also probably good for the genetics, because we know how royals are.
Yeah. Well, I guess based on her good looks, she got the genetic pool right.
Yeah, right.
I have more fashion to talk about. May I talk about more fashion?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the thing that she's missing Lily's TV program to go do instead is, once she's come out as a princess, like, people are wanting to like say like, "Oh my gosh, I'm her best friend, and like we do everything together," even though it's totally not true and they hated her guts beforehand.
Right.
Anyway, so this guy, I think his name is Josh, that she has a major crush on, and he does not reciprocate the feelings. And then also Mia can't see that Lily's brother, whose name I don't remember, maybe he's Josh, I don't know, whatever.
I think he might be Josh. I think there's just the one guy.
No, there's two guys.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've watched this movie.
There's the one, like, dorky boy who's Lily's brother, and then there's, like, the cool jock bro who may or may not be Josh. I don't know. We'll call them Jock Bro and Lily's brother, okay?
Jock Bro and Lily's brother. I love it.
So Mia had a crush on Jock Bro, and once she's out as a princess, he, like, wants to take advantage of that and, like, finally, like, taking a notice in her, and so he invites her to, like, the beach bash end of year party for the school, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, of course I'll go with you," completely forgetting that she's now, like, writing off going to Lily's television program, as well as going on a date with Lily's brother that same night that she'd already promised. So she's trying to figure out what to wear. She wants to pick out a swimsuit, and she has apparently a few different swimsuits, which, fine, if you live in San Francisco, I guess you're close to the ocean. I didn't know you could swim in San Francisco. I thought it was really cold there.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm from the UP, like, it...
You get used to it, you do what you can.
Lake Superior is a cold, horrible lake, but you swim in it because that's your option.
Okay. Well, anyway, so she's picking out a swimsuit, and she wears this green swimsuit in the mirror while she's talking to her mom, and she's like, "I look like an asparagus." Her mom's like, "Yes, but a very cute asparagus."
Very classic mom
like,
answer.
I've never seen anyone compare themselves to an asparagus before. And it wasn't even that color. It was like neon.
What kind of asparagus is Mia eating?
I don't know. But anyway, she doesn't end up wearing the green bathing suit. She apparently wears the blue suit instead.
Okay.
And then once she gets to the beach bash, there's like, somehow someone tips off the reporters that she's gonna be there.
Of course.
And it's like the paparazzi all coming to sneak up on her, and they go and like hide in this fishing tent. She gets her like it's not a fishing tent, just like a game activity storage tent. She gets a volleyball net caught around her foot.
Oh.
And they were like, it was going to be a real romantic moment where they're like kissing, except her foot's all stuck and she wanted to like do this thing. She's like, I think when I get my first kiss, my leg's going to pop. Like your foot just lifts behind you. But her foot's all tangled. So it's like not right. And she's like, this isn't romantic. And so they don't kiss. Which is for the best.
Honestly, though.
Yeah, because then when they, like, head back out of the little shack, like, all the paparazzi have had time to hide out around it. And so they open the door, they step out, and everyone, like, starts flashing the cameras at her. And they're like, give her a smooch. And so a jock bro, like, kisses her on the lips without her consent.
Yuck.
And luckily she had a flip-flop in her hand and she smacks him upside the head with the flip-flop.
Yeah, take that, jock bro.
Yeah. And she's like trying to run away. And then the evil cheerleaders, they like stop her and they're like, hey, wait, we're gonna help you. We have your clothes right here. And they put her into like this little changing tent and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Why are you helping me? And they're like, oh, because we think Jock Bro is kind of a douchebag, so we don't want to hang out with him anymore either.
No.
And they're like totally pulling the wool over her eyes.
Yeah.
So she gets into the changing tent and you can hear them saying like, all right, she's got her clothes off in 3, 2, 1. And they like rip the tent away and all the paparazzi are there taking pictures of her while she's changing. And it's like, that's literally not appropriate.
No.
And like,
that's assault.
She gets in trouble for it. The queen is mad at her for having these pictures in the paper. And it's like, she didn't set any of this up. None of it's her fault. It's all these other people trying to invade her privacy. It's like, why were they not taking better care of like the paparazzi situation at this beach bash?
Joe?
Joe, where were you? He probably had the night off.
I know.
Oh, so sad. I'm trying to think if I have any other hot takes. I can't think of any right now, but those are a few hot takes from The Princess Diaries.
Those are fair. Those are some solid hot takes from The Princess Diaries. It is.
Thank you.
I do love that movie. It was definitely a movie I've absorbed many times, and I've discovered, having talked to you about it right now, that I have more feelings about it than I thought I did. But
I think it and its companion, Princess Diaries 2, are actually both quite good. Like, solid watches. I do enjoy them, even though I have hot takes about them.
Isn't that where the line? It's a TikTok dialogue, but it's Joe talking to one of the kings that was like challenging Mia's right to the throne, and he's just like something about I have diplomatic immunity in 60 countries or something like that. Isn't that from this movie?
Oh, I think it is.
If you touch my girl, like, I will, like, shred you apart, that kind of thing. Oh, God.
I think so. Gosh, I don't remember if it's this one or the next one.
I think it might be the next one. But the whole quote, yeah, it's Princess Diaries 2. If you hurt my girl, you will answer directly to me. And whatever crimes I commit against you, remember, I have diplomatic immunity in 46 countries. That is the best cold line ever. And then he has including Puerto Rico, which I think is where that guy was from. But
oh, I see.
But like, it's not where you expect that line to come from, but it's such a good line.
It is. Joe really is a good character.
I love Joe so much.
Like, he's a secret agent, chauffeur, also a like lover of the queen.
Right.
I mean, they actually get married by the end of the second movie. Like, and it's not scandalous. The queen's husband is dead. She can flirt with other men if she wants to.
Everyone's been waiting for them to have her pass the torch so that she could get married to Joe for years, I'm sure.
Yes, and it's only because Mia finally makes a stand, rather, to be queen without being married. That's the whole plot of the second movie.
Yeah.
Is like, there has to be a law that she has to be married to be queen, and then she votes to change the law, and everyone agrees. And so she's queen, and Queen Clarice can finally step down and marry Joe.
Yeah.
And they live happily ever after. So yeah, that's what I brought.
Love it.
Perfect.
I love it.
Would you like to hear the quote again?
Yes, please.
Cool. Let me find where I put it. I've lost it.
Oh no. Quote, come back.
Okay, I found it again. Okay. It's like that scene in The Matrix where like a bunch of different shelves of guns come at you, but it's all just like shorts and utility kilts and skirts and lightweight summer fashions.
Oh my god. Is this a Ryan Reynolds movie?
No.
Oh, no. I thought it was Free.
Not a movie.
It's not a movie. Okay, because I thought it was Free Guy for a second, but okay, if it's not a movie, is it Adventure Zone?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to get more narrow than that, or do you want me to tell you?
It feels like a taco quote, but that's about as far as I've gotten.
It's actually just a Griffin DM quote.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the start of the 11th hour in the Bureau or in the Balance arc, where they're going to a desert, and so they all want to get different looks.
Oh, it's the suit up episode. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Right. That's fair. That's a good one.
Thanks.
I like that. Right. What now? Generator.
What even now?
What even now? What even is now? What is time? Generator.
A flat circle.
What is our next topic?
The next word is infection.
Infection.
Ew.
Gross. Love it. I already have like a bajillion ideas, which is a problem.
I share some because I have zero.
Infection just screams zombie flick, like,
Okay.
or that one with the mom.
Are you not running out of zombie things?
Absolutely not. I love zombie flicks.
Never.
There are so many more Resident Evil movies, Allison.
Oh no.
We'll find something.
I'm sure we'll find something.
All right. I think that's the end of the podcast. I'm gonna end the podcast.
Okay. Do it.
Thanks.
I dare you.
Thanks, Generator, for the word. And thank you for listening to our podcast. Remember, we're Nerd of the Week. If you enjoyed us, or we gave you a sensible chuckle, or a little bit of nostalgia in this episode, feel free to share with a friend so that more people will listen to us, because that's how podcasts grow.
What?
That podcasts grow that way. I did really well with my words today, and we're at the end of the episode, and I can mess up a couple.
You're allowed.
And always have been me, Stephanie.
Don't be anyone but you, boo. And I've been me, who is Allison.
Who is Allison? And remember, pyramid scheme, this is not.
Never ever.
Never ever. Goodbye.
Bye.